So logistic functions. There are two forms of a logistic function. You're going to need to memorize these. Probably most of you, the first thing you do when you get to your test will be to write these down. So f of x equals c over 1 plus a times b to the x power is one version. And f of x equals c over 1 plus a times e to the negative kx is the other version. For those who read through that section I asked you to read through in the book, you would have probably, if I did ask you to take notes, I imagine you would have written that down. Why do you think you would have written those two things down if you're looking at a page that looks like this? What would lead you to think that these two things might be important? That they're inside of a green box, right? It's on a different color. It costs money to print textbooks in color. You guys know that, right? Like so for them to actually put this green ink on here, I know it's like a tiny fraction of a cent, but that means it's important. So yeah, and then there's some information about this stuff in here, and I'll tell you kind of the key pieces of it. C is called the growth limit. It's often called I call it the carrying capacity. Carrying. Does carry have two R's? I don't know why I was thinking it might only have one. Okay, capacity. Our book calls it the limit to growth. Yeah, so that's like the highest it's ever going to go. And these functions, if you graph them, they're always going to have two horizontal asymptotes. And that was the main thing I wanted you to get out of this, was how to find those two horizontal asymptotes. They're always going to kind of tend towards 0 on the left. So y equals 0 is one of your horizontal asymptotes. And there's another one up here where it kind of levels off. It never quite hits this value. And that is y equals, anybody know? C. So that number that's on the top tells you the limit to growth. That's the highest this thing's ever going to get. Now there is a huge, huge common misconception when it comes to this. And it has to do with the y-intercept. If you had to make a guess how this equation is related to the y-intercept, what would be your first gut instinct to say? The y-intercept is what? A, because it is for exponential functions, right? And it would kind of make sense if it was that way, but it's not. It is not. The y-intercept is not A. In fact, if I were you, I would put a big old star next to this and say A is not, underline, 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 the y-intercept. I'd circle it, maybe put a couple other stars next to it. This caused so many problems for my students. They think that A is going to be the y-intercept. We're going to learn how to find A today. Yes. What's the trick to finding the y-intercept? Set x equal to 0. If you put x equal to 0 in either one of these, you're going to lose the b term here, right? B to the 0 is just 1, so it would just be c over 1 plus a. That's your y-intercept, yes. Same thing here. If you were to put 0 in for x here, you'd have e to the 0, which would just turn into a 1. So you'd have c over 1 plus a times 1. We're going to come back and talk about this in a minute. So we did. I think there was only a couple. Okay. So we'll see some more of those today, though. All right, you guys ready? Let's do this.